Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Legacy Farmer, the podcast. This is your host, J.C. Young, and today's topic and discussion is this: you can't take it with you. So yesterday, inside of our community boardroom call, we had about 50 of our members on there from all across the country, and we were discussing just really just stress management, right? And we were talking a lot about our process and how we handle stress, and really just like mapping out how stress comes into our lives, what we do, right? So we're talking about the trigger, the response. We go through things called the pit, and we talk about what happens there. And then we go through something else called the false lift, right? And this is kind of the cycle of stress and this karmic negative feedback loop that we all go through. And we really went into the depths on that yesterday and really studied that. And we had a lot of different members share a lot of different stresses that they have inside of the operation. But really what we were trying to discover was, what were the triggers? What are the triggers inside of your operation or your personal life that ultimately creates a certain type of response for you, right? And that's what you really have to consider here when you're thinking about this. For example here, right? I'm married. I have 4 little girls, ages 7, 6, 4, and 8 months, right? So our house is pretty chaotic. We are definitely a busy family with dance and softball and just a bunch of different things going on, right? I'm not the only one. But the thing is, though, is that in that type of environment, there are certain things that can be said with my kids or whatever, if they're fighting or they're fighting with my wife or whatever. If I hear certain words, it triggers a certain response from me, right? And it's typically not the response you want it to be, right? So when we talk about stressors and everything, whether it's in your personal life or your operation, I just used, my personal life as an example here. There's certain things inside of the operation too. Okay. For example, one of our members yesterday was talking about how repairs are a big trigger for him because the way that he looked at it was, these are things that can actually be avoided with proper maintenance and everything like that. And I said, yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple things that we have to look at here to really diagnose how we can keep this trigger from happening. One, do you have systems and processes in place and the training in place to make sure everybody on your team is clear on when all the maintenance is supposed to be done on all the equipment? Are they clear on what signs to be looking for? Or do you just expect them to know this, right? And a lot of members are coming back saying, yeah, well, no, we don't have any systems or processes. We're not training them on what to look for here. Okay, great. So that's one mechanism we can use, or one strategy we can use to hopefully prevent that trigger from ever happening again in the first place. Okay, the second one is and what we were talking about with this specific member when it came to repair bills was understanding and recognizing, rather than letting it trigger you and stress you out, ruin your day, steal all of your mental energy and capacity, and you're just pissed off the rest of the day. I asked this member, I said, hey, how long have you been farming? And the response was 20 years. Okay, great. So in the past 20 years, how many years have you had repairs? And the response was every single one of them. And I said, great. So you're still here though? He said, yeah, of course I am. Okay, cool. So you've had repair bills every single year for 20 years and you are still here. Yes, I am still here. Okay, great. So why is a repair bill this year any different than the one you got back in 2002? Why is that any different? Why should it be stealing any of your mental energy or anything there? Because you know that you had repair bills back then. And if we can get more specific on it, like on actually knowing the dollar amount to the penny, that would be helpful, right? But we know that we've had repair bills every single year. So why should we let that stress us out today? It's going to happen. Obviously, it's meant to happen. Otherwise, God wouldn't have brought it into our life in the first place. Like everything that's meant to happen will happen. There's going to be mistakes that are made. There's going to be areas inside of our operations or businesses or family life that are exposed. And that's God signaling to us, hey, fix this leak right here, right? It's nothing that we can do preventative maintenance and stuff like that, guys. But at the end of the day, like whatever God is deeming to happen is going to happen, right? Whatever is meant to happen to you is going to happen. But with this member here and with all the members inside of Legacy Farmer, and especially for farmers and ranchers just in general, a lot of the triggers stem from finances, and it stems from not knowing them, right? So I told this member, I said, hey, the benefit now is you guys are in Legacy Farmer and we're showing you guys how, you guys are really detailed on your numbers now. You're tracking them month by month. You know exactly where you're at. And I said, what would be really beneficial is to be able to go back 20 years and be able to clearly see what our repair bill was every single year. I guarantee you there are some years that were a lot bigger than other ones. And even those years that were the number was huge, you still survived, still here, right? Even when in years when market prices sucked and everything was going into the shitter, still here, still survived, still making out, right? So that's, guys, that's just kind of the perspective that we have to have on things, right? We have the trigger. Okay, great. Now, what is something I can train my mind to do to make sure that I am considering and taking into account that, hey, I got this repair bill. Okay, great. I have 2 paths to choose right here. I can be triggered as hell right now, and I can let it ruin my entire day. I can show up in a really negative way for my entire team and my family this afternoon. Or I can think back through and I can go through all of my numbers the past 20 years and remember, hey, back in 2006, we had the biggest repair bill ever that we've had inside of this operation. We're still here. Back in 2015, the repair bill was 150 grand. We're still here. Right now, guys, I'm just saying that because you have to be reminded. And I'm talking about that strategy from personal experience, because with Legacy Farmers is like, guys, we don't have any competitors, right? It's kind of the first company that comes out where, we take care of all the business stuff for all of our members, right? Getting clean entity structure, organized books, streamlined tax planning, getting systems and processes in place for their entire operation, going through their accountability chart for everybody on their team so everybody's clear on what they're doing. So we have a lot of emphasis on the business side of things, but we also focus on the personal side of life as well, right? And so we're kind of the only company that's doing that, that's specifically focused on ag right now. And the thing is, guys, is like when I was going through and starting Legacy Farmer, we started really back in end of 2018. And, through that first year to 18 months of being in business, man, I was always freaking out if I didn't get a certain number of sales by a certain day every single month. So there were months where I would go up until the 15th of every month. And you guys need to understand, like, if you've been following me for a long time, I was spending money on ads. Like, I was spending a lot of money on ads trying to get this thing up and off the ground. And I was always fearful. I was always stuck in scarcity, especially if I did not get a sale immediately. Then I would start to kind of freak out and stress out. It's like, okay, what do I do now? And it's the same type of thing, right? It's just, same farmers face the same thing, right? It's just in a different way. And the thing is, though, is after about 18 months, I could go back to 6 or 7 months where I did not have a sale until the 15th. And guess what? Everything was fine. Everything was fine at the end of that month. Everything worked out. God planned for everything to work out, so it did work out, right? And so that going through and being able to consistently remind myself and look at the numbers because I'm tracking them has now given me the ability to no longer make the numbers a trigger for me, or not having a sale, for example. That was the trigger, not having a sale by the 15th. It's no longer a trigger for me because I'm like, yeah, whatever, it'll be fine. Oh, we've been down this road before and we've come out, so we're fine. Not a big deal. So that's why I'm saying, guys, this is important here for you to really think through, like, inside of your operation, inside of your life, what are the triggers? What are the triggers that trigger and cause you to be extremely stressed out? Okay. And then what are the things here that we can actually put in front of you? So for example, I was talking about this farmer putting the repair bills for the past 10 years in front of him, right? And remembering, hey, we had this repair bill in 2012 or whatever. We're still here. No reason to let this repair bill I'm getting today ruin the rest of my day or my week. Right? Stay focused on what matters. Stay focused on what you can control. Stay focused on how you can improve your operation and your business every single day, and just continue to move forward. Right? Otherwise, what's your other alternative? Oh, I'm just going to be pissed off the rest of the day. I'm going to take it out on my team and my family and everybody else around me, and I'm going to make everybody hate me. None of us want to do that. If you do want to do that, then you need to have some different conversations with God and try to figure some stuff out. But none of us willingly want to do that. I don't want to show up as a bad father to my children and take my energy and anger out on them just because of something happened in business that they had nothing to do with, right? But unfortunately, that's what happens to a lot of us. That's why we have to diagnose the triggers and then figure out the solution here. That way we can course correct versus going down the same freaking pattern we went through for years, being triggered and taking it out and, not getting anything accomplished for the day because all your mental energy is taken up elsewhere. So my friends, I hope you found this podcast valuable. I hope it opens up some things for you. I hope you start to diagnose what the triggers are inside of your life, and I hope you start to make some changes. So my friends, that concludes this episode, and we will catch you on the next one. What's up, everyone? My name is Jace Young. I'm the founder of a company called Legacy Farmer, and inside of that company, what we do is we've helped over 300 family farms simplify and streamline the entire financial side of their operation and help them learn their numbers at a deep, deep level so that they can implement the systems and the processes to make sure that their operation lives on for generations into the future.